line, half turn yellow line right there for the next truck, please. Red line, yellow line, stop there for the next available truck, please. You got the yellow line, watch your hands and feet, gates, your close truck, stay on truck, doors closing, watch your hands and feet as well. I hope so. Doors closed and off there. Welcome aboard, folks. Watch your step.
Good morning.
Red line, right there for the next available truck, please. Red on the yellow line, stop there for the next available truck, please.
There's a spoon? Oh, someone wants their spoon for lunch.
How many are good, guys? How many? Get on my next truck. Get on my next truck. Got that yellow line, watch those hands, feet, gates closed, and stay on the truck, doors closed, watch your hands, feet. Push my mirror a little bit.
Santo, it's on work. Alrighty guys, here in Harambe, till like say Twin Day, which means let's go.
Yay!
Ciao everybody, my name is Nick, I'm going to be your safari guide. Today's safari is the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. While we're in the reserve, I do ask you guys to remain fully seated at all times, keeping your hands, arms, feet, legs inside the vehicle. Please be sure to watch your kids. If you guys have any personal items with you, please make sure they are safely stowed away. There's going to be a lot of money for the train we're going over today. We do not want anybody to fall over those roads or lose anything. Now, if you're going to be using a camera, that is perfectly fine. Just make sure it stays inside the vehicle at all times, because if anything is dropped into the reserve, you will not be able to stop and retrieve it. And since animals are naturally curious, you most likely will not be getting those items back. But if you do happen to drop something, please let me know, and I will let our reserve board know. So there's a small chance we get the item back for you. Now go ahead and take a look up above your heads. Notice that handy animal spotting guide. That's going to help you identify any animals may see out here in the reserve today. I'm going to be pointing out everything that I see to you guys, but if I miss something, please feel free to point it out to me. Just not too loudly. We do not want to start letting the animals out here. We're now entering the Little Itsuri Forest, which is a very densely packed forest full of vegetation and wildlife. A lot of the animals in this forest have used camouflage to their advantage to try to remain hidden, so keep your eyes out, guys, when you see an animal or two wandering around amongst the trees.
Sorry, no, sorry.
It's kind of hard to see, but over on the right-hand side, you're going to see that stork there, kind of over by that log. That is a saddle-billed stork. They get their name for the very distinctive yellow saddle shape that they have on their bill. They're one of the larger storks in the world, being around 5 feet tall, so adults with a 9-foot wingspan. The males of the species have dark brown eyes, females have bright yellow eyes, and they actually communicate with each other by rattling their bills. Now, very cool. Coming up just ahead on the left-hand side, we're going to see a black rhino. We can tell this is a black rhino because it has a prehensile upper lip, meaning when it comes to a point, you can use it to pick up and gather food. They're very large, usually being around 3,500 pounds. They can actually get charging $35.
There's another one back there.
They are critically endangered due to poaching for their horns that they have on their head. There's only about 5,000 black rhinos in the world because of that. The poachers believe that those horns have a scientific or medicinal value, which is actually false. They're made out of a material called keratin, which is the same material that our fingernails are made out of. So, unless you're a rhino, you've got to use a rhino horn. They're going to be kind of hard to see, but over on the right-hand side, we're going to see some light brown antelope called greater kudu, and also some beautiful rust-colored animals called bongos. Now, the kudu that we see there are female because they have no horns on top of their head. They're one of the taller antelope we see on the reserve. They're around 55 inches tall at the shoulder. They can actually leap about 6 feet into the air from a standstill. The bongos are commonly called the ghosts of the forest due to their reclusive nature. Both males and females of the species have those horns on their head, but the males being significantly larger, usually around 36 inches long. We're going to be moving out of the forest and into the Sapi River, which is where we tend to see some more aquatic wildlife.
Fishies.
Now before I pick you guys up, the warden gave me a tip to look for shadows in the water, indicating there could be something out here. So keep your eyes open, everybody. You never know what you're going to see in these waters. Very cool. Looks like coming up just ahead here on the right-hand side, we're going to see a Nile hippopotamus. Now, Nile hippopotamus are very large, usually being around 5,500 pounds. They can actually stay underwater for around 8 minutes at a time, even while sleeping. Now, while we're driving through the river, you may see some vultures out here. That's perfectly fine. Hippos and vultures have a symbiotic relationship with each other. The hippos will protect the vultures, and in return, the vultures will pick any dead skin off of the hippo's back. It looks like there is a larger bloat of them over on the left-hand side. A bloat is what we call this group, a bloat of hippos. And the green white birds you see there on the island are called pink-backed pelicans. Pink-backed pelicans, their names are very distinctive pink coloration they get on their back during mating season. You can speak about them all. The hippos are herbivores, they'll main plants, but they do have very large tusks in the mouth.
Look at the pelican.
Those tusks are actually self-sharpening. Every time they open and close their mouths, they scrape against one another, sharpening themselves.
I like pelicans. I think
And they're commonly called river horses because they sometimes will not swim through the water. They actually just gallop along the bottom of the riverbed.
We should do this. That's how much Chris paid for it.
I'm not really seeing anything else out here, so we're just going to go ahead and cross this old bridge, head out onto the Savannah now.
That's crazy.
Alright, like I said, we're going to go ahead and take you guys out onto the Savannah. But during the past few days, we're going to see some animal migration happening. So with any luck, we'll see some animals out wandering around today. Looks like coming up just ahead here on the right-hand side, we're going to see a baobab tree. The baobab trees are commonly called upside-down trees due to the fact that, well, it looks kind of like it's upside down. It is not upside down, however, those are its branches. They typically remain leafless for around 9 months of the year to help them conserve water. And those trees act sort of like giant gourds. They can hold thousands of gallons of water inside of them. During the warmer time of the year, it's common to see animals walk through those trees and bite at them, trying to get water out, giving it the nickname the Tree of Life. Now, out here on the Savannah is a very large, successful ecosystem. Because of this successful ecosystem, we tend to see a large variety of wildlife. So let's use that animal spotting guide to our advantage and see many different types of animals we can spot today. Now you're going to notice that a lot of the trees out here trimmed almost at the exact same length on the bottom side. It's usually a pretty good indicator of how tall the tallest giraffe is.
I was thinking we
They like to use their great height as well as their long prehensile tongues to gather food from the bottom of the trees. Prehensile means they can actually use their tongues to pick up and gather food. Now those tongues are about 18 inches long, which is long enough to wrap around your forearm about 3 times. If you're wondering, yes, I'm speaking from experience. Looks like there is a small tower of giraffe wandering around out here today. A tower is what we call them as a group, a tower of giraffe. These giraffes that we see are called Maasai giraffe. Maasai refers to the very irregular patterning that they have on their coats. Similar to human fingerprints, no shoe coats are the same. They're all completely unique to every animal in the species. It looks like there are actually some baby giraffes over on the right-hand side there, provided those pilot longs. Now, baby giraffes are usually born at about 6 feet tall, taller than your average human male. Usually weigh about 150 pounds. Now, female giraffes actually have to give birth standing up, so whenever a baby giraffe is born, they can drop 6 feet down onto the ground. Alright, very cool, guys. It's kind of hard to see, but over on the left-hand side here, there's a den coming out. You're going to see some African wild dogs. Now, commonly called painted dogs due to the very beautiful coats that they have on them. And they are very successful pack hunters, being successful 4 to 5 times they go hunting. But they are actually not related to the canine species we keep as pets. They're a completely different family altogether, having only 4 toes in each paw instead of normal 5, and they also have never been domesticated. Now coming up here on the left-hand side, we're going to see some beautiful brown creatures called sable antelope. They may look kind of familiar. That's because they're the official mascot of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, showing up on our official crest. Now they're known for those very long curved horns on top of their head, which they use for sparring amongst the males, as well as for a deterrent from any predators who want to keep up their backs. Now it's rather peculiar to see giraffes lying down like that, because they only sleep standing up. The only reason that giraffes lie down is whenever they feel extremely safe and comfortable in their environment, which is something that we love to see here in the reserve. Now these large rock-like structures that are around the truck right now are not actually rocks, they are termite mounds. These termite mounds can be around 15 feet tall and are as hard as concrete. Some of the larger animals in the reserve like use them as scratching posts, which is why that one on the right-hand side is so worn down. Some of the smaller animals like use them as lookout posts, climbing up to the top to try to spot any predators maybe lurking nearby. Now we're going to get a pretty good view of a giraffe here on the left-hand side, so I'm going to stop for just a moment if you guys want to take a picture of it. There's actually a couple of them wandering around over there. Now adult giraffes are some of the tallest animals on the planet, standing in at around 18 to 20 feet tall. Now, despite that large size, adult giraffes are actually capable of sprinting up to 35 miles per hour and comfortably jogging at about 20 miles per hour. Now, many people believe that giraffes have horns on their head, and those are not actually horns. They are called ossicones. Now, the difference is that horns are not connected to the animal's skull, can actually fall off if they need to. Ossicones are directly connected to the giraffe's skull and are actually covered by a thin layer of skin. Now that being said, the giraffes don't really have much of a use for those ossicones, and they also have a slightly rounded tip.
Oh my God,
So we probably say they are pointless. Alright, one last good view of a giraffe here. We'll stop for one more moment and we'll get moving forward again. Now coming up here on the right-hand side, we're going to see two different types of animals. There's going to be large-herded gray animals called white-bearded wildebeest, and also some small light brown and white creatures called springbok. The white-bearded wildebeest are some of the largest groups of migrating animals in the world, up to 1.5 million of them will migrate between 500 and 1,000 miles across the span every year. And the term wildebeest literally translates to wild beast. Now the springbok get their name for their ability to repeatedly spring up to 6 feet into the air whenever they feel threatened or very excited. That action is called frolicking, and many types of animals can do that. They're some of the fastest animals on the planet, reaching speeds around 50 to 60 miles per hour, and leaping 10 to 16 feet forward in a single bound. They can actually spring 12 feet forward from this
Did I
game.
get any good ones?
They look
Oh, I
soft.
like that one. Can you send it to me?
Yeah, send that one to me too. No, not you.
Me. You just send it to Caitlin. Send it to me.
I'm not really seeing anything else out here, so we're going to go ahead and take this turn and head over to an area we've been calling Monkey Point for the past few days due to a troop of mantles that's been spotted in the area. Now, if you do happen to spot any mantles, I ask you guys to stay kind of quiet. They're very shy creatures. We do not want to scare any of them away. Not really seeing any mantles around here.
The
Not
wild
really seeing too
African
much of
duck.
anything around here. Oh, spoke a little bit too soon. Looks like there's actually an African elephant up there on the right-hand side. You can tell this is an African elephant because of their ears. They have much larger ears than their Asian elephant cousins. Also, both males and females of the species have tusks. Also, much darker coloration. You can also dark gray, whereas Asian elephants are lighter brown. The males of the species are much more solitary. They get kicked out of their family groups around the age of 15 years old, which is when they reach maturity. After that, they tend to lead very solitary lives, sometimes forming loose bachelor groups, and sometimes rejoining family groups for mating purposes, but for the most part, they stay by themselves. The large herds of elephants that stay on the savannah are actually all female, with the exception of some young adolescent males, and they are led by the most senior female group called the matriarch. And she knows all migration routes by heart, as well as where to find any food and water. And if she ever feels that she's reaching the end of her lifetime, she'll take another female elephant under her wing and teach her everything that she knows, passing down that knowledge from generation to generation. That's why poaching for their ivory tusks is so dangerous, because if the matriarch of a herd is slaughtered for their ivory tusks, that herd loses all that accumulated experience and they have to relearn everything from the beginning. Now, if you guys had to guess, how many muscles do you think an elephant has in its trunk?
500.
700.
Maybe about 40,000 muscles on their trunk alone. To give you a point of reference, humans have about 680 muscles in our entire body. And elephants can actually use their trunk to pick up to 750 pounds. I'm seeing a lot of red clay here, which is a good sign for more elephants. Also seeing some elephant tracks here and some tusk marks in the clay on the right. And the reason you see those tusk marks there is because elephants actually scrape the red clay off the walls using their tusks into piles on the ground. They'll then pick up those piles of red clay and eat them. Now, it's completely safe for them to do that. However, it acts like a natural vitamin for them, helping complete your daily nutrition that they need. The rest of that nutrition comes from assorted greenery, totaling around 300 pounds of food a day. But given the fact that adult male elephants weigh around 12 to 14,000 pounds, it's not a whole lot of food when you think about it. Female elephants typically weigh about half that, around 7,000 to 8,000 pounds. The elephants do not have any natural predators, but they do face two very large threats from humans. Between poaching for their ivory tusks as well as severe habitat destruction from mining companies looking for coltan, both have officially been moved onto the endangered species list. Now, coltan that the mining companies are looking for is used in the production of electronic devices such as computers or cell phones, and is actually recyclable. So if you want to help protect these beautiful creatures' habitats, I would suggest recycling any old unused electronics, maybe just sitting around. But don't just throw them in your local recycling bin, take them to an electronics store where they are much more capable of handling these items. Now, recycling just about anything is a great way to help with conservation efforts. Most items are recyclable, or sometimes they can be handled by your local recycling company. Good examples are plastic bags and styrofoam, both of which are perfectly recyclable. They have to be taken back to their bin or re-recycled properly. Luckily, most chain supermarkets have recycling areas in them. It costs you nothing except your time to take those items up there and drop them off. Do your research in your local area, guys. See what kind of recycling options you have available to you in your local community. Now, here on the left-hand side, we're going to see some greater flamingos. Greater flamingos are a light shade of pink. They get that pink coloration from a brine strip that they eat, which is a mineral called beta-carotene. Beta-carotene slowly seeps into their feathers, turning them pink. It takes about 2 years for that to happen, which is why some of the younger ones are a light shade of white. Right? Whenever you see large groups of flamingos like this together, they're called a flamboyance of flamingos. Now, coming up here on the right-hand side, we're going to see some rather impressive creatures. These are Patterson's eland. There's 2 females here, as well as 1 adult male up in those bushes there. The adult males are much larger. They weigh in at around 2,000 pounds, standing in at about 6 feet tall on the shoulder. And despite their large size, they're actually capable of leaping up to 80 feet into the air from a standstill. Alright, we're getting ready to enter the eastern part of the savannah now. During the past few days, it's been quite warm outside, so some of the animals in this area have been hiding up underneath the shade of the trees to try to protect their skin from the sun and cool off. So let's keep our eyes out and see what we can find out here. And that mud pit that's over on the left-hand side is quite popular amongst rhinos. They like to roll around in that mud to help keep themselves cool during the warmer times of the year. And once they're done rolling around in that mud, it'll be caked onto their skin, it'll then dry in the sun. Now, that dried mud actually acts as a natural sunblock for them, because even though rhino's skin is almost 1.5 inches thick in some places, it's extremely sensitive. So they need just a little bit of extra help to protect their skin from the sun.
Stop. Nobody asked.
I'm not really seeing a whole lot around here. We're going to check a couple more spots just up ahead and then take the next corner. see. But over on the left-hand side, way up amongst the trees, you're going to see a cheetah lying down. It's about directly to the left of the truck right now. It's just lying way back amongst the trees there. Cheetahs are some of the fastest animals on the planet, reaching speeds around 50 to 60 miles per hour in short bursts. To help them achieve that great speed, they actually have non-retractable claws, like them that dig into the ground to help control themselves at those high speeds. They actually like cleats that athletes would use. They also have black tear marks coming down out of their eyes to help reduce the amount of glare that they experience in the very bright African sun. The cheetahs can only maintain their high speed for about 300 yards. It costs them half a day's worth of calories to speed that. So they don't catch whatever it is they are hunting. It is a very significant loss for them. Now here on the left-hand side, there's some Kopi rocks. Kopi rocks refers to this rock formation as a whole, and they are notorious for predators. It's common for us to see predators sitting up on top of these Kopi rocks, keeping a lookout over the savanna. So to keep our eyes out, see if we can spot anything lying around up there. Very cool. Looks like there's actually a adult male lion up there on top of those Kopi rocks.
Wow.
The lions will typically remain mostly inactive for about 20 hours out of the day. They are much more active during the nighttime hours as they're nocturnal hunters. To help them with their nocturnal hunting, they actually have excellent night vision. It's about 6 times better than a human's vision is during the day. They also have very special pads in their paws, like them move almost completely silently.
He looks almost like fake.
Now, whenever lions go hunting, they're actually capable of breaking down an adult zebra with just one swipe from their paws. And it is actually the female lions that will do most of the hunting in their groups. The male lions simply stay back and take care of the cubs. They more stay at home bats than anything else. Now, whenever lions roar, they can actually be heard up to 5 miles away.
Wow. I don't think they were roaring anytime soon.
I want to see a snake.
Because they were flying.
Alright, very cool guys. Coming up just ahead here on the left-hand side, we're going to see a warthog. Now, warthogs are actually a large burrowing creature. They use their razor-sharp tusks to burrow into the ground.
That's so cute. Aww, look
And if
how
they ever
cute.
feel threatened, they'll back into those burrows and display their tusks. If you ever see one doing that, you want to stay away from it. They've been known to fend off adult male lions.
Wow. If I saw what you saw.
Alright, now coming up on the right-hand side, we're actually going to be able to see some rhinos. Again, some white rhinos more specifically. And also some beautiful brown creatures called bontabak. Now, the bontabak are once hunted nearly to extinction for the beautiful brown coats. At one time, there's only 20 of them left on the entire planet. That's less than the amount of people we have on this truck right now. Luckily, groups of farmers in Africa took them onto their farms, started protecting them, allowing them to make a remarkable comeback. You will unfortunately only find bontabak on reserves such as this one nowadays. They are extinct in the wild. Now, those rhinos we saw there are white rhinos. Now, white rhinos do not get their name from their coloration. It comes from a mispronunciation of the Afrikaans word "vite," meaning wide, and very wide, most of the crazy. Similar to their black rhino cousins, they can get charging to 35 miles per hour. They are much larger. They land at around 5,000 pounds. They also have the same keratin more at the top of their head that they are commonly poached for. Because of that, they are also critically endangered. There's only about 20,000 white rhinos out in the world. We're entering the Magadi Glen now, which is a small oasis. And the animals that call this oasis home are very shy creatures, so if you don't see anything, don't be too surprised. Alright, I'm not seeing anything in here. But it does look like we're coming back to the Warden's Post, which is where I'm going to be dropping you guys off. But Hakuna Matata, everyone. Peace, no worries. While the sun is up in Harambe, there's still plenty to do. If you want a chance at more up close and personal animal encounters, I'm suggesting a short walk through the La Falls Exploration Trail. There you have a chance to see animals such as gorillas, meerkats, or even underwater view hearing for hippos. Or you can visit its sister location over at the Maharaja Jungle Trek, and there you have a chance to see animals such as a Komodo dragon, giant fruit bats, or even some tigers. I would encourage you all to learn as much as you can about conservation, because without it, many of the animals that we saw today could go extinct. It's estimated that without continued conservation efforts, the elephants could go extinct within 20 years. As we all know, extinction is forever. Like I said before, a great way to help us by recycling. So do your research in your local area, guys. See what kind of recycling options you have available to you in your local community. But if you want to help directly, you can do so by donating to the Disney Conservation Fund, which you can donate any amount you'd like to, and the company will match every donation dollar to dollar. And that goes to different conservation funds all around the world to help protect beautiful creatures we saw today, as well as many other creatures we did not get to see. You can learn more about that conservation fund at any personalized location. Now guys, I'd like to personally thank you for choosing Kilimanjaro Safaris as your primary travel agency to the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Asante Sana, guys, thank you very much for joining me today. Again, my name is Nick, and it was my pleasure to be your safari guide for today. Now we're getting pretty close to the village. I can hear some music being played just nearby. Go and do a quick double check, make sure you have all your personal belongings with you. If you don't want to leave anything here, believe me, it's a very long trip back to Africa. Now, if any of you guys are part of the Wilderness Explorers Club, I would definitely suggest checking out those walking trails I mentioned before, Gorilla Falls and the Maharaji Jungle Trek. Both have many different opportunities to earn those Wilderness Explorers badges. And one of those badges, you actually need a special code from this truck, and that code is the SIMPA1. That is SIMPA, and the number 1. Go just jot that down to Wilderness Explorers Club handbook, head back into the village directly across from the entrance of Kilimanjaro Safaris. They'll be more than happy to help you get that Wilderness Explorers badge. Now we do just have to wait for some of this traffic up ahead to clear out. Once the word gives me the all clear to approach the dock, doing the pull up and drop you guys off.
It's a lot of